We're number one, baby. We're number one. Recently, I heard that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul is going to be fighting. And I'm like, what? Jake Paul and Mike Tyson? They're going to be fighting? And to be honest, I'm not really sure who's going to win because sure, Mike Tyson is like 57 and like Jake Paul is like what in his like mid 20s, early 30s, I think. And like yeah, sure, Mike Tyson is a beast, honestly, but Jake Paul has the longevity of being younger. So I'm not sure who would win actually. But then I'm gonna say I don't know who will win because I am not like a genie, so I can't predict things. But like I would assume Jake Paul, but Mike Tyson though. So, to conclude my analysis on who would win, I will be going over Jake Paul opponents he won and lost against to and his training. But I won't go over Mike Tyson's though because I'm pretty sure we know who Mike Tyson is and how crazy that MF is. So I'll just be going over Jake Paul. So he has won a very couple of times and he did lose once, but that was by score. And I won't be going over the ones that don't have the most fighting experience. For example, like Deji or and an Isan Gib. So I'll just be going over like MMA fighters or retired boxers. So the first notable experienced fighter that Jake Paul has fought is Ben Askren. And to be fair, Ben Askren isn't like some old hag who has arthritis or is like retired from like the sport of fighting. He is a MMA fighter, so of course he will have a disadvantage when it transitioned to boxing, for example. But I will say that they did have a fair fight, and I will give ups to Jake Paul a little bit. The next fighter he fought was Tyron Woodley, and honestly, that's a pretty big risk taker, Jake Paul, because he was a three-time champion, not 3-year champion, and he's not old. He's like 40 when he fought him, I think, and like. It's a scary fight, honestly, but yet again, it is a age gap, so of course Jake Paul would eventually win it in the second boxing match. He didn't win like by the first one, I mean barely, but still. Now the next fighter he fought was Anderson Silva. Now Anderson Silva is a little bit over aged than him. He's like 48, and like he is a MMA fighter, so of course he does have a little inexperience with boxing, but I don't think Anderson Silva would realistically beat Jake Paul. I know he is a fighter and he is very scary, but it's only because he has MMA with his guts and his legs. His legs are very scary, so of course Jake Paul would be destroyed if it was like MMA. So I will give no points to Jake Paul's on this because, of course, Anderson Silva has a disadvantage, age, and also because it's boxing. So the next fighter he fought was Tommy Fury. Now this is actually a very decent fight because Tommy Fury is actually pretty young. He's like 23, 24 when he fought Jake Paul, and he is a professional boxer, so that means that he did lose to Jake Paul lost to Tommy Fury, but I think this is actually a fair fight for Jake Paul because now he's not like fighting some old retired MMA fighter. He's actually fighting like professional boxers or like like the ones that are still active and aren't that old. So I will minus 1 point because Jake Paul did lose to a boxer.
Also, Tommy Fury's kind of good. I'm going to give him some points.
So the next fighter he fought was Nate Diaz, and this actually surprised me because Nate Diaz, he was like 37, but he still has like those like fisticuffs like style like punches. Like he punches fast and pretty hard, so I'm kind of surprised that he didn't win over Jake Paul. So I will give some points to Jake Paul on this because he did actually fought a very serious threat. So the next fighter that Jake Paul fought was Andre August, and this is actually very surprising because Andre August looks very shredded for some reason. I don't know why he lost, but I'm just assuming that something tweaked inside his mind or something. Because Andre August should have honestly won. Like, the dude is shredded. So, yeah, point to Jake Paul, even though I wanted Andre to win. The last fighter that Jake Paul has recently fought against was Ryan Borland. I think that's how you say his name. And although he is 35, he is actually a professional boxer with a 70-2 record, I believe. He's not a bad fighter, but realistically, I don't think that he's like the most explosive boxer, but he's a decent fighter, I guess. He's just a little less known in the boxing world. So I'll give some Jake Paul some points because he did fight a legitimate boxer. So before I conclude and answer my statement on who would win, let's take a look at both their trainings so far.
August, I'm back, baby.
Alright, Jake Paul has decent head movement, decent footwork, and okay punches. Now let's see Mike Tyson's training footage.
Day 2, we're getting ready for you. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You know what? Mike Tyson is gonna win this. Hear my words. Mike Tyson is gonna kick Jake Paul's ass.